In studio with me now are two top members of the House of Representatives, Democrat Javier Becerra, the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus, he's from California, and Republican Michael McCaul, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, hails from Texas. Congressman McCaul, thank you very much for joining us. You just heard Senator McCain wants to make sure you House Republicans don't feel dictated to. Do you feel pressurized, dictated to by the Senate immigration bill? What is its prospects? What are its prospects in the House of Representatives?
Well, in the House, we're gonna do our own thing. We're going to pass our bills in regular order.
Meaning ignore the Senate bill?
I think, we'll take a look at it. I have some concerns about the border security piece that was laid out in the Senate bill in terms of throwing $46 billion at a problem without any plan, without any strategy, without any definition of operational control. And, there's an old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We have no plan. And that's a problem over the last decade within
Do you think that $46 billion was just covered to get Senate Republican votes, and because there's not a plan from your vantage point, it's illegitimate?
I believe that it's not a responsible plan. I believe it was hatched at the last minute to get votes to pass what they passed in the Senate. On the House side, I passed a bipartisan bill out of my committee that will be, I think, the centerpiece of the enforcement border security piece. We can't go back to 1986. We granted amnesty to illegals, and then forgot about the security provisions. And I think that's the important lesson that we can't repeat today.
What is the schedule of your border security bill? Do you expect the House to consider that and pass it before the August break?
It's possible it could be on the floor by July. If not, I think September. The discussion is with other reform bills, and we're going in regular order in the House, that we could get something done by the September timeframe.
I want to help our audience deconstruct what you mean when you say regular order. That means you're going to take up specific bills addressing specific elements of the immigration debate, not comprehensive reform, a terminology that people hear all the time. You're going to do this piece by piece, and the fear is, among Senate Democrats and the Senate Republicans who support this legislation, is the piecemeal process will, by its own slowness and gradual approach, kill it off.
Interesting, usually the Senate's slower than the House, but we're going to move and do this the right way and pass our bills the right way. I do think once...
Why is that the right way, though?
Well, I think going in regular order, it's what the American people want. They don't want a comprehensive bill like what we saw with Obamacare that passed in the middle of the night. And now we're seeing what all the problems are in that bill. They don't want comprehensive. What they want is regular order pieces of legislation. And eventually, this will put the House and Senate in a conference committee position.
Sometime next year.
Well, it could be as early as late this year, maybe early next year, where we do hash out the differences between the Senate and the House versions. But again, I would argue that what our bill calls for is a plan and a strategy which we haven't had for a decade. It calls for metrics to measure success, and it defines operational control. These are all key ingredients because we haven't had that before. In the past, all we've done is thrown money down at the problem on an ad hoc basis, and it hasn't worked. And what the Senate just passed was, again, a bunch of candy thrown down there, a bunch of assets thrown down there to gain votes, but without a methodical, smart border approach. We want a smart border. We also want a smart immigration plan, something that makes sense.
Do you think the President and Democrats in the House and in the Senate are setting Republicans up and want to see this issue fail and become a dominant issue in the midterm elections next year?
I'm deeply concerned that the effort should be bipartisan. Border security on my committee was a unanimously approved, completely bipartisan bill. My concern is that the political backdrop could be that the White House would like to see this fail in the House so that he can blame the House of Representatives for that and then try to take back the House of Representatives, and then all bets are off on his agenda.
That's the politics side of it. Before I let you go, the policy side of it is, do you believe there are 218 House Republican votes for anything that is a pathway to citizenship or a legalization mechanism that starts very soon after enactment of any legislation?
Well, we have a GOP conference on Wednesday to talk about immigration.
But you have a sense already, don't you?
What's that?
You have a sense of this question already.
I think you've identified probably the two key hotspots. One would be path to citizenship, and one would be applying Obamacare. And so I think those are going to be the issues that are going to be hashed out at our conference on Wednesday. And we're going to have a full, healthy debate about it. But I do think, as the Speaker has said, we need to be the party of solutions and not always obstructing. And so I think there's an effort here that we have a broken immigration system. We need to fix this immigration system. And frankly, I want the best and the brightest in here. I don't want an uncontrolled southwest border in a random lottery system.
Very good. Congressman McCaul, thank you very much for joining us.